Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, I'm Miriam Dow, wife, mama for real estate investor and entrepreneur. So they was really trying to take my property away from me. Like I almost was this close to losing my investment property. Both of them actually. Let's get right into it. This comes with owning a home, not just investing in properties, but this is a real reality that I didn't really take too seriously until it actually happened to me for the second time. So I bought my first investment property in 2020. And as you know, I paid for it outright. So when you have a mortgage on a property, you send in one mortgage payment, and that mortgage payment includes your principal, interest, insurance, and your property taxes. So the lender has a lump sum of money in escrow, and they are sending that money out. So it's like the lender buys your house for you, and you have that money in escrow, and they're sending everyone their money. They're paying the insurance company, they're paying the taxes to the town, right? So even if you don't pay your mortgage, if you're late on your mortgage, they are still sending that money out, waiting for you to pay them, right? Because they are the guarantor. They basically own the home, right? You are paying them a mortgage, so they have the first lien on the home. If you ever go delinquent, they own the home, they can sell it. With me buying my first property ever in 2017, I was only making one payment. I remember wanting to just get rid of our tax payments once a year instead of making monthly payments, so that can basically because our tax payments alone comes out to around $900 a month. So I tried to do that, and I sent tax payments for like a quarter to my town automatically. They received the check, did cash it, and then the following month I saw my mortgage company was taking the same exact for me. So I called the mortgage company, I was still new, and they were like, you can't do that. So we see that you actually paid your taxes. We're gonna go ahead and send you a refund, a reimbursement of that. So they sent me a check. So they still took the same amount, but then they sent me a check for the taxes that I paid, because they were like, you can't do that. This is a FHA loan. We do not permit you to make separate payments. We make the payments, so you make those payments to us. So that was the case for that. Maybe different loans are different, but I have an FHA loan. So with my first investment property, I bought the property outright in November. I was still doing renovation. Something that I did that was wrong was I wanted to have the mail forwarded over to my house here, but that wasn't really the case. I think I did that too late. And I wasn't keeping up with the tax payment. So my first tax bill, I was about to lose the house. I did receive a letter. I opened the letter, and the letter says that your property taxes are past due. You have to make a payment on this date, or your house would be included in the next tax sale, which is like a tax deed sale, like a tax auction for homes that are delinquent on their tax bill, and someone could buy your home for the for the taxes that you owe. Taxes for this property was under $3,000. So you could say it was around $700 to $800 a quarter. So every 3 months I have to pay that. I can pay it however way I like. I could pay for the whole year. I could pay it every 3 months. And every year they do an assessment, your taxes go up. I called the phone number on the paper. I talked to the tax department, and I was like, hey, I just got this letter. She was like, yeah, today's the last day that you can make a payment. Within 30 days, for some reason in Mercer County, within 30 days of them starting that tax auction, they no longer allow people to make the payments online. So usually you could just go online and make your tax payment, but 30 days before that, they deactivate that link. So you cannot make a payment online. You could send in a check in the mail, but it has to be like a certified bank check or a money order. So I remember I stopped everything that I was doing, got in the car, drove over all the way there. I got there and I was like, oh, we don't take cash. So I had to go to the post office, get a certified bank check, come back and pay the taxes. And they were trying to take my house. So that kind of let me, be on board where, okay, girl, pay your taxes, right? And then from there, a year later, as you guys know, I refinanced. So I currently have a mortgage for that first property. December 21st, I received a letter like in late November, early December, saying basically December 21st is the very last day that I can make a payment for my taxes, because December 26th, my home is going to be in the tax deed auction. So again, they go ahead and they deactivate it. And early December, end of November, early December, I'm traveling. November, early December, I was in London, I was in Paris. I got this letter and it says December 21st is the last day that you can make your payment, and December 26th, we're having the auction sale. I just kept that in the back of my head, December 21st, let my husband know December 21st. So we actually drove there on December 21st. Now this is a different town, but it's still Mercer County. And we went inside and I paid cash for the tax. I went on the website, because if literally the day after Christmas, and they're gonna have these tax deeds. Now I don't know if it's online or if it's in person. I didn't really read it too much, and yeah, there goes and behold, my property was there in my LLC name. I'm going through this list, and it's not a short list. It's thousands of homes. It's pages of homes, and the pages are not numbered, so it doesn't tell me like what's the last. It probably was 100 pages. And I'm going to, some people owe an outstanding amount. We owe $3,600. Some people owe an outstanding amount, $20,000. But then other people, owed as little as $300, as little as $49. Now, for someone who's looking to get into real estate, of course, this is a way for you to get into real estate. I believe for the state of New Jersey, every state is different. So once you pay for the person's taxes, you then, for New Jersey, if someone is living in the home, you have 2 years for the owner of the home to then go ahead and pay the taxes. So now they owe the person who paid the tax, because the government, the city, they want their money. They don't care who's paying it. They just need their money. So if you, the homeowner, is not going to pay it, they're going to have an auction. The person who paid for the taxes now have a tax certificate note on your property. Depending on the length of that is if the home is vacant or not. Now, if you live in the home, so say it's a primary residence, they give you 2 years. You have 2 years to pay this person who paid for your taxes, but keep in mind there's interest accruing. So whatever you pay him back, you have to pay him back for the amount he paid, the person paid, plus interest, in order not to lose your home, and you need to do that in a 2-year time frame. For vacant properties, because this property is vacant, you actually have 6 months, you have less time. So let's say someone would actually bought my property, paid for my taxes, it was $3,600, then for $3,600, they would acquire, and if I didn't respond to them within that 6 month time, in 6 months, the town would have then given them a deed. They now own the home. I no longer own the home. The deed that I have is no longer valid. They now own my home that I paid $151,000 for. I paid previous year taxes for. I've been, maintaining, and they now own my home for $3,600. Thousands of Americans lose their home this way. It's very sad, but it just brings me to the reality that in the United States of America, do we really own our homes? No, we don't. It's an illusion. To be honest, it's an illusion. I was just watching something where a veteran in Florida that's disabled, there's some kind of act where if you are a disabled veteran, you do not have to pay taxes. He never filled the form, but he was aware, but he didn't know that he needed to fill the form. He's disabled. So he had spine removals done. He had brain issues. And someone bought his house for $200, and they are now trying to get him out. The person that bought his house is now suing him, trying to get him out of the house. And this is a veteran. Do we really own our home? These scenarios really has me thinking about investing out of the country. This world is so big. There's so many places where you can invest internationally. And for people watching this video that wants to get into real estate, there are so many places that you can invest internationally where you actually own your home. In the United States, I've come to find out as an investor for the past 3 years, as a homeowner for the past 7 years, you don't own your home in this country. You have the right to use your home until you stop paying your taxes. Once you stop paying your taxes, they will sell your home to the next person for the amount of taxes owed. Isn't that crazy? I could have lost my house for $3,600. Now I'm going through this list and I see people who owe $50, $100. That doesn't really sound fair. I know business is business, but it's like, do you really own your home in the US? No, you don't. You just own the right to use your home. And now it's like when I was in the beginning stages and I'm listening to Remit, I think that's how you pronounce his name, and Grant Cardone, and they're saying don't buy a house to live in it. It's the worst investment ever. Now I know why. You don't own that home. It's an illusion. You go buy a house in DR, in Mexico, in Africa, you actually own the home. No one's gonna come take the home away from you because you didn't pay your taxes. And the taxes over there are peanuts. I almost lost my house twice. So very discouraging. You put all this time and effort into the home, all these memories, and to think that someone could come, like you could, God forbid, get into an accident, unable to pay your taxes for a few months. I have a neighbor in Trenton that actually lost her home. And this is a reality. They come with a sheriff, they take you out of your home. It doesn't matter the amount. You could owe $1 and they are taking your home away from you, giving it to the person that pays that dollar. It's unfortunate, puts a really bad taste in my mouth, got me thinking about investing internationally, and I just wanted to bring that to your attention. So if you do get to the point where you own your home outright, just keep up with your taxes. They could come and take $500,000 investment property, so a house worth $1 million, just for the taxes that you owe. Like a threshold where if you owe less than $1,000, if you owe less than $500, there's some kind of grace period, a longer grace period or something like that, or something could kick in when you maybe can apply for a grant, for these elderly people, these veteran investment property. For the longest, since I refinanced it, my mortgage was $1,184. A few months ago, I go to pay my mortgage on the app, and I see it increased significantly. So I called them, and I'm like, hey, I went to go pay my mortgage, and I see there's a new amount. And she's like, yes, that's because your property taxes increased, and since your property taxes increased, your insurance also increased. So we need to have that money in escrow. And when I tell you, jaw dropped. So basically my property mortgage went from $1,184 to $1,657. That is a $473 increase in this economy. I think this happened in maybe November of this year. Yeah, November of this year. And basically when things like that happen in a personal home, they give you the longest period to spread it over, or it doesn't go up that much because it's your primary residence. So it went up that much because this is considered a commercial property because it's a rental property. There's a fee that I pay every year in January. They just took it out of my account the other day. It's $139 rental fee, right? The fact that this property is a short-term rental. And then on top of that, taxes went up $473. Now I asked the representative, can you spread that? They spread it over 12 months. So with that and the insurance going up, once I pay that balance that I owe that I need to have an escrow, it's going to come back down, but it's not going to be the previous amount of $1,084. It's going to be like $1,391. So it still went up like $200. But I asked them if they can, spread it out over 24 months, and she was like, well, that's not likely. We do that for primary homes, but this residential homes, this is a commercial property. So it's like you start to get ahead and you start to make some money, and they just pull your ass right back to reality, like you're making a little bit too much money for us, and yes, you need to run up these taxes. I called the town, and they were like, yes, when you bought the property, it was valued at $40,000, and from the permits we pulled, we see that it's valued at $80,000, and because of that, that's why your taxes went up. Mind you, I did all these renovations, pulled all these permits out between November 2020 to March of 2021. I got my CO in 2021. Why is this happening in 2023? End of 2023. So she was like, you can definitely do an appeal, but we will have someone come to your home. An inspector will walk the home, and you would have to prove, they're going to look at the similar listings in the area, and you would have to prove that your home is worth less than $80,000, that you won't be able to sell your home for $80,000 for us to decrease that amount. I know my home is worth more than that. So because of that, I was like, well, that's okay. But it's just like $473. So for that reason, I'm pivoting. This is business, and with business, you have to pivot. You got to be able, to assess the situation. I'll let you guys know what I'm doing once I'm done. I'm not the type to just sit there and shut up, be bullied. So I'm standing up for myself, and I'm doing what I got to do. So with that being said, let that just be an example. Like even with the mortgage, your taxes go up. Now my taxes on my primary residence only went up a few bucks, so it never really made a difference with my monthly mortgage payment. But with this commercial property, it went up $473, and I was able to get them to they appealed it. They took them 30 days, but they approved spreading it over 24 months. So that brought my payment from $1,657 down to $1,491. And 2 years to pay that, and once I have that amount that needs to be in escrow, it's going to go down to $1,391, I think, something like that. But it's never going to be that $1,184. So I learned from my examples, and that's it from this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.